Most manufacturers are burning their marketing budgets on trade shows, cold calling, and boosting random posts on social media because they simply do not know the way to get customers in 2026. And I totally get it. All these methods have once worked for you in the past, but it's 2026. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the 20 most common marketing strategies manufacturers use and giving you exact insights on what is the most effective that's going to be making you money and what you should completely avoid. By the end of this video, you know exactly which strategy you need to prioritize for maximum impact in your business and the exact step-by-step process you should implement. My name is Dennis with Hero App Marketing, and for almost a decade, I've been helping specifically manufacturers scale using online methods to grow their organization. And this is not going to be just general marketing advice. This is going to be stuff that actually moves the needle. We helped a manufacturing brand go from 2.1 million to 3.7 million in 9 months without needing to rely off of distributors, trade shows, or affiliates. Just the proper strategy with the proper execution. And we pulling back the curtains and showing you what's the most effective strategy in 2026. There's going to be no fluff, no generic tips, just actionable steps and what you should prioritize and completely throw away. Let's get into it. Starting off is customer referral programs. This is going to be your classic B tier. It's not too good and it's not too bad. Now, the reason why referrals are going to be B tier is because one, they are coming to you already framed, warmed up, and it's from a prospect who's currently having a good experience with you, which eliminates majority of the friction. And since they're coming from a trusted peer, the likelihood of them converting is extremely high and it's pretty much a layup at that point. Now, the issue with referrals is that you can have a system for it, right? You need to provide good work, but it is not like you can force it, right? If you continue to kind of exhaust referrals, you're gonna notice that like you're eventually tapped out and you're just gonna have to play that waiting game if referrals are your main source of generating revenue. But at the end of the day, you're only gonna get a referral if a customer is happy with your business and willing to share that experience with someone else. So this is going to be a porting method, but it's not going to be your primary driver in getting business, and it never should be because that's a dangerous spot to be. So B tier. All right, so here comes cold calling. Now, I know a lot of manufacturers implement cold calling, but this is going to be a C tier. Now, I understand companies still implement it. However, it requires a ton of legwork, and the only way you can be hyper successful in this is by being extremely personalized. So when you measure your time or your sales rep's time on cold calling to be effective, you're going to notice that they're spending a significant amount of time in research to get this done effectively. But then we have the gatekeeper, who's the receptionist. So we are aware that receptionists and assistants are the gatekeeper of whoever we want to get in front of, and they're pretty much trained to be the goalie and blocking your shot to that decision maker. Now, if you do speak to that decision maker, you're interrupting someone's day. You now have to pitch them on the phone when there's a ton of resistance at maybe a horrible timing, and that friction is going to be significantly higher coming in cold like this. The reality is that cold calls are not as effective as it once was. And pains for me to say this, but this is going to be a C tier, and I know there's a ton of sales reps that are currently using this as their main source of generating leads. Receptionists and assistants are there to screen unwanted calls, and then you also have Apple that will let the lead know that there's a spam caller. So with that being said, most decision makers are busy during the day, so you're getting them at a bad time and there's already a ton of friction, and then you're going to pitch them over the phone or try to get them on a calendar. And one, you're not even too confident if they are the decision maker or they're interested in your product. Manufacturing buyers are overall just busy, whether it's managing the plant, working on projects, deadlines. Getting these people on the phone is going to be extremely challenging because they're not just waiting around expecting a cold call. So for me, cold call comes with a high rejection rate. You need a ton of volume. There's usually a strong gatekeeper if you have someone that is worth talking to. So overall, I would not have this as a method to focus on. If your sales team is spending more than 10% of their time making cold calls, I would have to say that you would need a more effective method on generating leads. Your website or any tool on your website is going to be the foundation of your manufacturing business. Without this, every other marketing channel is going to be leaking conversions. With that being said, this is an A tier. Your website is often the first impression buyers have when it comes to viewing your business. Before they contact your sales reps, request a quote, schedule a call, they're viewing your website to see if you're one, capable, credible, and even enjoyable to work with. This is a foundation when it comes to your manufacturing business, and it's extremely important to have this section of your business dialed in. And honestly, most manufacturer websites don't look great. Many look outdated, they're difficult to navigate, and they focus too much on the company and not the buyer. You often see generic shop photos or text that's super technical. It does not help the buyer go through your website in confidence that you can get the job done for them. That becomes a problem because all your marketing efforts, such as trade shows, cold calling, ads, referrals, people are going to be coming to your website, and if that is not user friendly or conveys a message that you're the right choice for them, they're either going to a competitor if they're not submitting a form, or they're just leaving. So this is one area of your business that should not look like the way it should if your website is currently outdated in 2026. The best manufacturing websites in 2026 solve the problem that your prospects has. They either have a tool on their website that could help calculate ROI, maybe build a project on their site before inquiring or purchasing. It provides a nice, smooth user experience. This is going to help making decision making and buying process that much easier for your leads or your prospect that you're driving to your website from all your other marketing channels. The only reason why I'm putting this as an A tier is because if your other channels are effective and this one spot, such as your website, is still outdated, it's going to destroy the results for all your marketing efforts. Google Ads is one of my personal favorite when it comes to marketing strategies for manufacturers in 2026, because it is one of the only platforms you could go on from having zero visibility to getting consistent leads in 30 days. So for that, S tier. So for Google Ads, you could be advertising on Google, and this platform are for people who are currently looking for a solution. So if they're coming to your page, there's a high likelihood, if you have the proper offer, could prove it to them, and you could get to them at a reasonable time. As far as speed to lead, that lead can become a customer. You can launch a campaign today, and by the end of the week, you can have qualified leads look and speak to you. Now, the only caveat is that Google Ads can be expensive because you have other competitors on that platform. However, if you are selling a higher ticket product, it's way worth it to advertise on this platform. Now, we use this platform for all of our clients, whether it's selling decks, labels, thin stone veneers, precast cesspools, apparel. This platform is a powerhouse because you're also able to track your conversions. And when it comes to advertising, this is when it becomes fun, because we can then get a sum or an average on order size, cost per scheduled call, and start doubling our budget to then double our booked calls, double the revenue in your business. So for that being said, this platform is a powerhouse when it comes to marketing your manufacturing company. Now, this platform is only powerful with the one condition that your website or your landing page is not outdated or provides a low user experience for your prospect. Next up are video testimonials, and honestly I feel like these are completely underused in the manufacturing industry. In this industry, relationships drive long-term contract, and we're not just selling a part of it, we are selling the confidence, consistency that you are able to provide when the time calls for it. And video testimonials are one of the easiest ways to do that, and it works throughout your full sales funnel. You might have someone that reads a case study and still feels skeptical, but if someone watches a 60 or 90-minute video of a live person talking about their positive experience and the results working with their company, it's going to be a high likelihood of that individual inquiring with a better framed mindset and a higher likelihood of converting. So this is going to be the social proof that your prospects need that could go from cold to a warm lead and then to a hot buying prospect. And that's why this is an A tier, because it doesn't just support your sales process, it strengthens every other channel you're already using. Next, we have general social media trends like dancing on video or just posting random stuff like AI content on your social media platforms expecting to go viral might not be the strategy that is going to work for you when it comes to getting buyers. Now, this is going to be a C tier because the amount of effort that has to be implemented to get social media content to be hyper effective is significant, but when it is, it can definitely help shorten that sales cycle and educate your customers. But if you're chasing trends to get vanity metrics and get views and random likes and whatnot, I'm gonna have to give this a C tier, but when it's done properly by a professional, then that ranking can improve. But for what I see right now with majority of manufacturers doing social media, this is a C tier effort. Next are retargeting and remarketing ads. Now I'm going to put this as a B tier instead of an S tier. Now I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me on this, but let me explain. So retargeting is when someone already interacts with your website or your ad and they're seeing your ad for a second time or another piece of content because they already kind of went in your ecosystem but have yet to purchase. Now, this is only effective if you have a top of funnel bringing more people in. Now, if your prospecting ad or your top of funnel ad is bringing people in, but you're spending more of your money in retargeting, you're eventually going to burn out that audience, and these prospects are not going to purchase but rather be more pissed off because you're hammering them with ads. So this method is effective when implemented properly, but keep that in mind when you're running a retargeting or remarketing ad. So that's why this is going to be a B tier. Okay, not to hate, but this is going to be a C tier for me because it's one of the most disliked marketing funnels for me, and that's going to be mass unsolicited email blast. That's when you're buying a list of 10,000 emails or more and blasting a generic message to them, and it is absolutely dog shit. Yeah, there might be a more effective way of doing this with AI, but it's still dog shit. Do not do this. I cannot be more clear when I say this. This can actually harm your business domain if you don't have a burnout email to use. But if you're actively using the email on your website domain, this is gonna be terrible for you and you're gonna absolutely regret it. When you are sending mass emails like this, your email domain ends up getting marked as spam, and if you're using your business email to do this, your customers are no longer going to be receiving your emails because it's going to be constantly falling in the spam filter, and it's just a giant headache. Plus you have CAN-SPAM, GDPR, and these are organizations that can actually fine you if you get reported for mass emailing. And I believe even in some states in the United States, I'm pretty sure unsolicited emails is technically illegal. Most manufacturers would already know these S tiers that we'll be discussing today, but they still struggle because they don't have the exact system in place. They might have leads coming from many different channels, or lead quality might be low, and they just don't know which areas to focus to improve that. And that's where we came up with our signal to sales system, is where we will handle the full process from start to finish to getting better lead quality, improve your messaging, dial in your attribution to see exactly where leads are coming from, what your close rate is, so we can start financially modeling and scaling your organization exactly how we were able to scale that shop from 2.1 million to 3.7 million in 9 months. And if this is something you would like help with, click the link below, schedule a call, and we'll gladly walk you through our process, as well identify the bottlenecks in your organization. Next, we have our educational blogs. And I want to be honest on where this fits. So this is going to be a B tier, because I do believe providing information is extremely helpful and builds trust and can nurture our prospect from being problem aware to solution aware to product aware and getting them close to purchase. However, most manufacturers will create a blog, start it for 6 months, start getting some traffic, and then completely stop it. So when you start writing content around keywords with the product that you're making, you are now showing up as an expert to these prospects and not as a vendor. So this improves your positioning and authority in the space that you're in. Keep in mind that a blog might take 6 to 12 months to start reaping the rewards. So there is a lot of legwork. However, this is a long-term play and extremely worth it if you stick with it. All right, finally, now let's talk about it. Social media campaigns, but specifically paid campaigns that you're able to target your ideal prospects with. So this is going to be LinkedIn, Meta, TikTok, and this is going to be an S tier. Now, I know I said that TikTok or social media content is not that effective, but this is something completely different. These are going to be campaigns with laser focus. Now, one of the common objections I will get when I bring up Meta when it comes to B2B versus LinkedIn is that their buyers are not on Meta. Now we have to understand that these people are also parents, friends, someone's cousins, and Meta has over 50,000 data points on a user. So they know their prospects, they know their users way better than you might know your prospects. And Meta, LinkedIn, TikTok, they care about user experience. So they're purchasing data to understand who you are, what you like, and deliver the right content to you. So it's only for that platform's best interest to deliver content that their users are going to enjoy. And so when you have an ad talking about that prospect's current problem or a solution, they're going to deliver that campaign to them, and there's going to be a high likelihood of that prospect actually inquiring or receiving the ad, and then having your company stay in top of mind when it comes to marketing to your prospect. Let's now talk about what smaller manufacturers tend to do when they start to getting a little desperate when it comes to bringing business into their organization, and that is using brokers. This is going to be a C tier. Now, this is something that might sound good on paper. You have someone that's able to bring business to your organization, but it's a chance, but they usually walk away with 15 or 30% of revenue, and sometimes on each transactions. So it tends to be a give or take. And now if your margins are slim enough and they're asking for 15 to 30%, this is where we kind of fall in that gray red zone. This is going to be a C tier because this is going to be more of a last resort instead of an actual strategy to implement when you're looking to build a marketing funnel for your manufacturing business. Now I want to end this with a gold mine, and this is going to be an S tier because it's worked for many years. It will continue to work for many years, and that's going to be SEO for high ranking keyword. Let me be straight with you. This is not a quick fix. This is going to be a long-term play. And this is actually part of the blog process that we were once talking about. If you need a pipeline for your sales team next month, this is not going to be a lever that you're going to be pulling. This is something that we're willing to wait for a year or 2 years to build out, but the return on investment in this is going to be absolutely incredible, because once you have organic traffic coming to your page, all we can then focus on that is the user experience, and then we can start tailoring your messaging to that ideal prospect that's coming to your website organically, not from a paid ad, but organically. This is going to be an S tier because when it works, it works. It's probably one of the best methods out there when it comes to marketing. If you have the runway to invest in this for 6 to 12 months, jump on this today. Next in the A tier, it's going to be LinkedIn direct outreach. Now, LinkedIn, on how most people are receiving their messages, is a cesspool where it's generic, it's cookie cutter, and it's just mass. That's not what I'm talking about. With LinkedIn direct outreach, we want to be extremely personalized, and we're not going to be doing this at scale. These are going to be people that you could be reaching out to, maybe your dream 100s. You're going to research on their hobbies, what they enjoy, their history, and when you reach out to them, it's going to be tailored, and it's going to show that you've actually took the time out of your day to inquire or reach out to them and start building that relationship for them to become a customer. But do not use automations on LinkedIn. They will ban your account, and even more, you're going to be pissing off your prospects. Now we're going to be talking about something that was once cutting edge in 1995, but in 2026 it's kind of a thing of the past. But I do see some manufacturers still implementing this, and that is going to be print advertising. Now this is going to be like trade shows, industry publications, local newspapers. Now I'm not saying this is completely dead, but when it comes to all these other new methods that's been around for the last 10-20 years, this is no longer as effective as it once was. And yes, you could add a QR code to identify tracking or send traffic to a specific landing page or a tracking number, but if no one is purchasing these magazines or continuously looking back in them, you kind of have a one-shot deal versus, using an online method to stay top of mind and get in front of your prospects. Now let's talk about a strategy that's incredibly powerful for manufacturers, and that's also an S tier, and that's going to be account-based marketing. So these are going to be like your dream 100s on what I was once talking about. These are people that you are going to put a tremendous amount of effort to follow up with, provide value, and show them that you're an asset. And this is something I still do internally with our organizations, with manufacturers that we really want to work with. Now, this is going to be for companies that can truly move the needle when it comes to conversion. So you want to take your time, you want to do your research, and when you reach out to them, you have to make it value driven each time. So when they associate your company with that problem, they're going to see that every time you reach out, it's something insightful. It could be what's currently working. It could be a case study. It could be an audit, whatever the case may be. This is all going to be value driven follow-ups to nurture that prospect, for them to inquire or maybe even respond to one of your messages in a positive manner that you can then move down the sales process. Now you have seen the best S tier strategies, which is PPC, SEO, account-based marketing, social media campaigns. Now me telling you was the easiest part. The hardest part of this is actually implementing it. And if you want a step-by-step process on how to implement this to get over 200 RFQs or orders, here's a video on it. Go watch it and get started.